Hey everybody, the Pixelblips podcast. We're back here again. So this winter was kind of the
It was
season of broken games.
Dude, it was. Like, it seemed like everything that came out from like the end of October all the way up till
I mean, I would say the first one that really like started it was Drive Club.
Drive Club not working from the get-go, and that was an October game, right?
I think so.
That was supposed to be one of the free games in October for us,
Yeah.
and when it launched, and it would be, you know, the stripped down version, and we still haven't seen it. Here it is, mid-December or whatever. It's probably after Christmas now, or almost Christmas now. It's just like that game, and apparently that game is still like not 100%. Like they haven't implemented all the features that they said were going to be there at launch. They haven't given us the free PS Plus version. They haven't given
us the free PS Plus version.
That's as of when we're recording this. If you're seeing this and they have given it to us, we recorded this like a week ago or 2
They're
weeks
steadily turning over and getting all the stuff in the game. And I think a lot of that was they didn't expect many people to want to play that game as ended up wanting to play that game.
Yeah, and, you know, eventually we'll get it as Plus subscribers, which that's
the
fine.
weather effects look really cool.
Like, I'm not...
They just released that weather update.
Yeah, and that does look really neat.
If you really want to race a Lamborghini through a blizzard...
I don't think that fixes some of the other issues that people had with the game, like as far as like how rigid the AI is. Again, I haven't played it, I don't know, but I've heard that... Wow, that squirrel just made a hell of a jump.
Yeah, we do that. There's an open window behind
There's an open window behind the laptop, and this squirrel just... Yeah. Anyway, like the rigidity of like the AI where it drives in a line, and if you try to deviate it from that line, like if you hit that car, it will just push you out of the way and be like, no, you're not doing that. Like it'll give you some, but it won't let you knock it off or run it into a wall or anything like that. It's not like a GT, like a Gran Turismo or anything. But yeah, like Drive Club launched broken. Like MMO style broken, where the servers are dead.
And that was one of the things, is that Drive Club, like the social integration of it had never been tried before. Yeah. And I read a sales figure analysis of Drive Club, which is surprisingly still selling pretty well. And
because people are tired of waiting.
Yeah. Forza Horizon 2, which came out and worked, functioned.
Well, and I think the big part of that was it has an offline mode. You don't have to be connected. And so does Drive Club, but Drive Club's offline mode is like severely hamstrung. It's nowhere near as...
like it's made to be played online.
Yeah.
So the problem was the sales figure analysis was like within the first 4 weeks, Drive Club was outselling Forza Horizon 2, which was also on the Xbox 360. Both SKUs of it was outselling it 3-1.
I mean, like, people really wanted wanted an awesome driving game for the PS4.
I don't think Evolution was like ready to handle, you know, they sold 3 million units in the first like 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, and
I don't think they were ready for that.
Like, I mean, even
so the servers went.
Like I watched. I mean, for a driving game, right? Like you're sitting there going, okay, maybe 500,000 people are going to buy this game. Yeah. Like, and even large companies like Blizzard, when WoW first launched, their plan was to have 1 million people online in the first 6 months. And it wound up being 1 million people all at once.
Yep.
Like, even the best laid plans go to hell when games come out and they're way more popular than they ever imagined.
Yeah. So I think Drive Club's problem, a lot of it was the people, the men and women at Volition going, like, running around with their hair on fire going, okay, we have to get the servers
We need more servers. We need more servers.
Somehow. So let's start shuffling out. Let's turn off the share notifications. Turn off this. Turn off that.
All our loadout plans for the next 6 months have to happen in the next 3 days.
Yeah.
And
let's start. You know, they won't be able to do challenges. They won't be able to do this. They won't be able to do that.
Yeah, they had to shut down features and things like that. And you know, good on them for putting out something after a week or two that actually like functioned, and that they're still turning things on. They're still bringing things up.
And they're very communicative on their Facebook and Twitter about what works, what doesn't. Yeah. They are apologetic, which is nice.
And I think they've made the first round of DLC free.
Yes.
For those who bought the game. Now, if
the weather update is also free.
I think that was going to be free anyway, because that was something that was... Well, I guess it would add different varying layers of friction to the road or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, Drive Club was a mess, but they're slowly getting it together. Now, granted, it's 3 months out or 2 months out at this point, so... How long should we beta test games, really?
Once again. Well, that's the thing, is like there's a certain time when you can't stress test after a certain point.
Yeah, there's only so much with an online game. There's only so much stress testing you can do, right?
And I'm more ready to forgive Drive Club's problems.
Yeah, well,
than something like Assassin's Creed's.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed games were just like, okay, we pushed this out the door way too early. I was going to say something like, while Destiny is not a perfect game, it had server load issues when it came out, but it wasn't like they didn't have to turn off features. Yes. They didn't have to do anything like that. It's just once because
I think they had a better
once the server population. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously,
like,
it's a shooter. Bungie knows their shooters are going to kick ass. So they're like, all right, well, we only need to turn on like 25% more of the stuff that we've ordered, and we'll probably be fine. They were more prepared, but yeah. I mean, so online games have that problem.
The next big one was Assassin's Creed Unity.
AC Unity, which
I think that is a problem of these games cost so much to make,
and they have to hit their launch day.
And this game just wasn't ready to hit launch day.
No. Well, and I think they also, they thought a year ago. They thought that there wouldn't be as big of an install base. Or they thought maybe they had another year to work on it.
Yeah.
But since the install base for both systems grew fairly exponentially compared to the PS3 and the 360, they're like, well...
Something like Unity outsold Rogue, which Rogue was the PS3 and Xbox 360 version.
Yeah, and apparently Rogue ran fairly well. It wasn't the big... I don't want to say shitstorm, but it wasn't as full of bugs, and it wasn't full of weird graphical glitches and faceless people as Unity is. But that's because it's using the tech that they have been working on for 3 games, 2 games at this point.
So I think Unity's problem is that they pushed it out the door.
It was untested software. They didn't stress the software.
They were like, okay, this is fine, click, we need to make our date, because when you don't make your date, when you delay, you're seen as like
you're losing sales or your product, you overshot your product. And I think it would be better, this is something that I've always kind of liked about I talk about Blizzard a lot because I love Blizzard games, but their thing is, if it's not ready, it's not coming out.
Yeah.
And they didn't even announce Titan. They just scrapped that game. It was there, they scrapped it, and then they reused art assets for this first-person shooter MOBA thing that they're calling Overwatch, I think. But they won't release a game until they are 100% happy with what it is.
Yeah.
And I wish
more
developers...
Ubisoft doesn't have that scruple.
Well, yeah, no, Ubisoft, but Ubisoft has also got 5 studios working on each game. Everybody touches every game, and it's...
I mean, when it's so massive, when the thing is so massive, it's hard to bug test it.
Yeah, and it is.
Speaking of massive, the next one up on the Rocket docket was Halo Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
Which was the big Xbox exclusive.
It was supposed to be one of their big games of the year.
They poured more money into it than they poured into Forza Horizon, than they poured into Sunset Overdrive, which were 2 better games, but they knew this is a shooter, it's exclusive on our console.
And it's Halo.
It's Halo.
It's well...
Which I still think they're overestimating how much the younger audience cares about Halo.
A lot of... And it's weird because
guys our age that played Halo in college care about Halo.
Yeah,
that's it.
They do. And we're talking about other stuff. About guys our age that like things that are obviously geared towards kids.
Yeah.
Pokemon, Amiibo.
But we're going to do an episode on Amiibo.
Yeah, we will do that.
See you percolating already.
But
the thing was, the games all functioned correctly.
Yes.
After you downloaded this giant ass patch.
Which is weird because it was the Blu-ray that came with it. Yeah. Which we talked about this. Well, no, maybe we didn't talk about this on our last show. I don't remember. It's been so long. Me and him have talked about it separately or together at parties and stuff. But it was the Blu-ray disc came, and then there was another 20 gigs you had to download.
Yeah, but they eventually got that down to 15 and then 10. So.
But then it would just be you download the crap as you need it, I guess.
Yeah.
But still, a Blu-ray disc is 25 gigs.
So what happened was the single player functioned.
All on the disc.
The multiplayer did not.
Yeah.
People were waiting in matchmaking queues, and there's, as of today, when we're recording this, they're still waiting in matchmaking queues for up to an hour and a half.
Which
people have said the quickest it goes is 20 minutes, which I was like, I don't know that I would wait 20 minutes to play Halo against people.
I don't think I would wait more than 20 minutes. I don't even like waiting 20 minutes if I'm playing, if I'm playing Destiny and I wanted to play, if they had queues and they didn't have like instant queues for like everything, I don't think I would wait more than like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because usually you just have to like sit there and wait, and you're looking at menus, and that really sucks. Like looking at a menu sucks. At least with a game,
watching that little pinging.
Yeah, you're just watching it go back and forth, searching for players, searching for players.
Searching for players.
Like at least with a game like an MMO, you can usually do other crap while you're waiting.
Yeah.
Like you can go quest or farm or whatever. But with Halo, you're just like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and play some stuff, and then you're like, all right, well, I got a 20-minute queue. I guess I'll go
play the single player, but
I'll snap TV. I can watch a football game while I wait. I mean, there you go. There's a good use for the Kinect, I guess.
There we go. There's a snap. So I think a lot of the problem with the Halo was, once again, it needed to make a date.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And they didn't test it as much as. Well, they probably. And also, they did as much internal testing as humanly possible, right?
And also, at a certain point, they said, we're gonna have these single player games. They're taking up all of this Blu-ray, and we don't want to license a second Blu-ray production. So we're gonna put this 10 gig, this at one point 20 gig
download,
20 gig day one download patch, which was basically
all the multiplayer
suite.
Stuff.
And then people complained because that's a big ass download,
that's
guys.
That's a big patch.
And then they're like, okay, well, we'll whittle it down to 10. And like, I think within the whittling in that time frame is where the problem started happening.
Yeah. Well, and you know,
they either took people to do the whittling away from the QA testing, away from what programming the multiplayer suite would have been. I'm not talking like they took QA testers and made. Well, no,
I understand that they focused their money elsewhere.
Yeah, and so problems started happening, and a lot like Drive Club, when it's one of your main games coming out in the fall that people are really excited for, it's a huge.
It has to make date. Yeah, if it doesn't make its date, it's a big deal. I'm just saying, like, I think the issue of it's a 20 gig download. You and I don't have this issue, but some people have data caps on their home internet. And 20 gigs is a shitload of data.
Yes.
Like, that is a data cap for somebody. In fact, I know a guy, one of the guys I work with lives way out, BFE, out by where the Legends are. And his data cap is like 40 gigs. That's half his shit right there. Yeah. And he's on DSL, so it would have taken him 6 weeks to download it anyway. But, that is an issue for some people.
Yeah, the giant day one patch was more of a way to Microsoft to save money, because the Xbox group is trying to cut every corner they can, squeeze in every penny, because they need to. So the next big one was Dragon Age Inquisition, which actually launched pretty well.
It didn't break.
Yeah,
from what I hear.
The problem was review copies of the game came out to people the same week that Sony pushed out a major firmware update for the PlayStation 4. And then the game,
that
would cause the game to die.
Yeah, the firmware patch wasn't functioning with the game itself, and it was like, nope, I'm not going to play this. So you either had to not update and not have any of the online functionality of your brand new game that you bought that now has multiplayer, or update and not play your game.
So what had happened was EA worked with Sony to put out a day one patch that fixed most of it. A week later, they put out another patch that fixed the rest of it.
Yeah. And they still, it's weird because they keep...
You're building this giant-ass game on, like, shifting sands of the firmware underneath it.
Well, and I think it's also funny that every time they patch, like, almost every time I've heard a new patch for Dragon Age comes out, it's like, it does something to your character, and it's usually bad. Like, one of them is, makes your character look really old, or changes your character's voice from male to female.
Yeah, there was one patch that Liliana, one of the characters in the game, who is a red-haired female assassin.
Is she in the first game?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
So the patch, I put the patch on one day, and it made her look ancient. She's not in my party. She's someone that you interact with. So I was like, what happened? Like, did I miss like a quest or something? Did she get like poisoned
or burned?
Then like a few days later, before I could play again, another patch came out. It updated, and it came back, and she was fine again. It's like that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, my character has a scar.
It would remove scars
through his eyebrow and below his eye, and that popped away for about a week.
Yeah,
but has since come back.
It's really kind of funny when you think about like when they patch games like this, especially big games like Dragon Age or even Assassin's Creed and things like that. Especially things with like customization built into the way you create your character. They could change a couple of zeros somewhere, and that would be like, oh well, now this feature is instead of Scars 3, now you have Scar 5.
Yeah.
And it's the same option, but it just changed the order in which they populate in the game or something.
Yeah. So, like, even Far Cry 4 had glitches when it came out.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a lot of, we're pushing this out the door. They're way too big. We haven't tested them sufficiently.
I feel really bad for Ubisoft. They launched 3 games in the last 2 months, and 2 of them were almost game-breakingly broken.
What's the other one?
Creed, Unity, Rogue, and Far Cry.
Sorry.
But Rogue was fine.
Yeah.
Rogue apparently ran.
Although everyone's complaining about Rogue is that it's like a fraction of your normal Assassin's Creed experience.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean,
super small.
It was the redheaded stepchild. It should have been a DLC pack for 4. It's probably what it might be a little bit bigger than the Add A expansion that they put out, or like the liberation missions they added to 3 or something like that. Like it's what was that called for AC4? It doesn't matter.
Wasn't it like Freedom?
Freedom's Call or
Yeah.
Freedom's Ride, something like that. But yeah, that little expansion was a standalone thing, and that was like, I don't know, like 10 gigs or something to download. But for $15 or whatever it was, that's a pretty good deal because it's a small Assassin's Creed game.
So the funniest moment for this whole debacle of this like fall of broken games, which is just the current state of being a video gamer.
And it kind of really sucks. Just as somebody who's played PC games for a very long time, and continues to play PC games off and on. Broken games happen.
Yeah.
And since these things are, online and you can update this stuff, I think it is just going to get worse.
Yes.
Because until people stop buying games at launch and stop buying games when they're broken.
Pre-ordering the game before you've even played it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one thing to get really excited about a game and be like, I want to buy it, I buy it. Your stores are going to have copies, more than likely. Like, GameStop always buys like a ton more than what they actually pre-order for. They don't just be like, oh, well, I've got 100 pre-orders, I'm going to buy 105 copies. No, they probably are going to buy 105 copies anyway.
They do that sometimes.
They do that with like limited run games.
Limited run games, the Japanese games.
Yeah, but like with say a Call of Duty, which apparently runs fantastic. Like this,
Call of Duty did.
This
come
new
out
Call of Duty game
correctly.
came out, and it could not run any better on these systems. I think.
Yes.
Was this was. It's not Sledgehammer, right?
Yeah, this was Sledgehammer.
This was a Sledgehammer. This is their first attempt at a Call of Duty game, and they nailed it.
They had been fixing Call of Duty games since Call of Duty Black Ops 1.
Yes, that's right.
So they were like, okay, we finally
we get to do our own now.
We've helped everyone else,
and we
finally get to do our own.
Yes. And then we got the Treyarch. Is the Treyarch one next year, and then it'll go.
It's Sledgehammer, Treyarch, Infinity Ward. Although apparently this one has been the 3rd year solid of declines for the Call of Duty franchise. So
even though,
might see them shift from yearly to every other year,
which would be nice because then you wouldn't get the Call of Duty burnout that a lot of people.
I think that's 100% what's happening.
Yeah.
Anyway,
same with Assassin's Creed. I haven't bought it yet.
But the most surreal moment of this fall of broken games for me was reading reviews of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on the Wii U. And the one thing that like popped up in not every review that I read, but a very solid.
It's a Mario game without jump.
No, that it was a very solid majority of them was, this is a game that functions. They were like, it didn't need to be patched. It actually works correctly. Like,
out of the box. You don't need to put your Wii U online and download a 5 gig patch.
I saw a few reviewers give it bonus points for
actually
working. Like,
which is that is
like,
kind of sad when you think about it. I mean, as much money as me and Andy spend per year, and I don't really want to cap. I mean, if
we spend a bit.
Think of like I probably buy 10 games a year, between 7 and 10 games a year. So that's like $600 plus tax.
Yeah.
If I buy them new with no discounts or anything, that's kind of a lot of money. I mean, $600 a year if you buy 10 games, and 5 of them are broken and almost unplayable when you buy them, you could have saved yourself money. And
it's why I generally don't buy things until they're on sale.
Yeah. Well, and that and your cheap ass.
Yes. So that's it. We'll see you next week, hopefully without patches.
But I love patches. We don't need no stinking patches.